Hi guys, Trevor Swenson with Through the Darkness, my personal journey with PTSD, trauma and stressor-related disorder. And I wanted to talk to you today about a season that I am walking through currently, and I wanted to maybe give hope and encouragement to others that might be walking through it that may not understand it as fully as I have grown to understand it, just because I've longed to understand why I'm walking through this particular painful season. And that is the very strong season of social aversion and isolation. And adding on to that as well, an overwhelming lack of strong emotions. It's kind of a weird season. It's a very lonely season. It's very painful if you allow it to be. But when you start to look at the reasons behind why the season of isolation and social aversion occurs, it really starts to make sense. And even today, in my understanding of PTSD, as I walk through it, I have a much calmer heart about the fact that I'm in a completely isolated and social aversion season in my walk with PTSD, and in a season that very much lacks emotion. And when you think about how the brain works, I think we've talked about this enough, that in PTSD and with trauma, the amygdala, the base of the brain, runs the show. It's much faster than the other parts of the brain, and its sole job is to make sure that we survive and that we avoid situations that could be dangerous or traumatic. And so in social aversion and in isolation, really what my mind and my body are telling me is they are telling me to take a time out, take a break while we figure this out, because you need reserve in the tank for actual danger. You need to be at rest because your system has been going wide open in the fight, flight, or freeze for too long, and the isolation and the social aversion is keeping my person from being potentially put into a dangerous or traumatic situation. And my body is storing up what's left of my fight, flight, or freeze system for those things that are of actual danger. And so my social aversion and my isolation doesn't scare me. Doesn't scare me personally, because I understand now that it's just my brain protecting me and saying, remember what can happen, remember what did happen the last time you were not isolated, you were not socially aversive, the last time you had highs and lows in your emotions. We just need to slow down and we need to figure this out. So isolation and social aversion and lack of emotion is actually my brain saying, hey, we got you. We're taking care of you. This is going to be okay. We just need to make sure that you've got reserve in the tank for those times that are actually dangerous. And it's interesting, and I know this is a cheesy example, but the other night I was taking a walk in the woods at dark, and from behind me in the swamp, something big, I don't know what it was. It could have been a deer, it could have been, who knows, but it was big and it was very close to me, and it got up and I couldn't tell if it was running towards me or if it was running away from me. It was that close, but it was big. But I remember I told my brother after the situation, I reached out to my brother and I said it was the weirdest thing because my body felt no adrenaline whatsoever in that situation, when obviously that is a completely normal situation that if that would happen to a normal person, it would be extremely adrenaline inducing. And so it's just another example of the blunting, if you will, the overwhelming blunting of the brain to make sure that it is protected. And I just wanted to share that with you today, that if you're struggling with the stigma or the self-perception or the perception of others about the social aversion and isolation stage of PTSD that might happen to you, I'm there right now. And I have very subdued and blunted emotions. I don't get worked up about a lot unless it is very, very close to the trauma source of my PTSD. And then obviously all bets are out the window. But just the things that I have learned when it comes to how your brain really is there to not only repair itself, but also to protect you when you are struggling with PTSD. The more I understand it, the more comfortable I become in the seasons and the stages of my PTSD. And so I hope that this helps you with any hard feelings you might be having or struggles that you might be having about feeling very, very isolated, being socially aversive, and really not having any emotion for normal everyday life. The reason is that my brain is protecting me. My brain wants to heal after having given everything mentally and physically. It's time for rest and to reset and to figure out what is safe and what is healthy. This is Trevor Swenson with Through the Darkness. I just wanted to share that with you today as to where I'm at and what season I'm in. The seasons obviously are changing here as well. I hope you're doing well. Remember that God is there for you. He loves you. He sees you. He sent his son specifically for you. Lean on him in these difficult times. He is a hope that will never forsake you. Can't wait to see you next time. Click subscribe. We'll see ya.